Tyler.
Yo.
Tell us one piece of advice you'd give a beginner rider.
Biggest piece of advice is you're gonna be scared a lot of the time that you ride the motorcycle, but that's totally okay. In the beginning, the fear is probably gonna be a little bigger, right? I think what everyone needs to understand when they're talking or thinking about riding dirt bikes is we're only born with two fears: fear of loud noises, fear of falling. Dirt bikes give you both of those, right? So they're kind of fighting against our natural fear system, if you want to call it that, right away. So you have to learn to ride the bike correctly. You have to learn in the right environment. You have to take your time. You have to have the right friends teaching you or helping you. You have to do the right amount of studying. You know, our YouTube channel is a great platform for that. But I think that when people think about fear, they think about, oh no. But I think what I've used motocross for in a lot of scenarios, because keep in mind, I was a very shy child. The irony between me talking on camera for a living ultimately, or talking in front of people, is so crazy. If you ask anyone that knew me when I was a kid, complete like hug dad's leg or mom's leg, don't want to talk to anyone, right? I was just super shy. And so what I think motocross did for me and what I use it for these days is opening up, is moving through fear over and over and over, realizing that it was just made up in my head and that I was able to overcome it and build confidence. And for new riders or anyone, even if you already have confidence, it just ups the level of what you're willing to do in your life. Like, I have no problem going skydiving. If you would have told me that when I was a kid, no way I want to jump out of that plane, right? But I have no problem doing things that most people would have fear around and just say, no, I'm good, right? And a lot of that comes from understanding, statistically, most things you're gonna be okay. For all of you people out there on the fence about getting into riding, do it. Find a good coach, find someone that can teach you safely, and do it. And then what you're gonna find is every time you get on the bike, every time you go ride the bike, you're gonna overcome one little fear here and there, whether it's like hitting your first jump, going through your first rut, getting up to third gear and turning the throttle hard. Every time you win some way or another, even if you crash, even if you fall, even if some of that fear proves to be true, you'll understand, hey, look, I'm okay. I mean, I've broken bones, but I've also broken bones not riding dirt bikes, right? So if you're willing to move through things in life that give adventure, that give excitement, that give adrenaline, likely, you know, the chances are a little higher that you're gonna get injured. But once you move through those things, man, the confidence is crazy. Like me from a kid to now, completely different human. And I really, truly owe that all to motocross. Constant fear, constant move through it. And then getting into racing, whole nother planet. When you can get into racing and you can get last one race and you can kind of get that feeling, you know, that feeling when you wake up and you're just like, it's almost like a bit of a depressed feeling or disappointed feeling. And then the next race you go get second to last, third to last, mid-pack, you got a podium, and then you get a win, and you understand where you started, where you finished, and what it took in the interim to get that. It's crazy, it's crazy. I think motocross is maybe one of the scariest sports to get into, but also the most rewarding once you understand that you're gonna be okay. I'd be super grateful if you guys would take just a second, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it. That really helps the channel kind of get out there and you guys know when the new content's coming out. For you guys that want to learn, that video will pop up right away. And also, if you don't mind hitting the like button and leaving a comment, a little feedback on how we could be better to serve you guys. Thank you. All right, while I got you guys here, I'm gonna tell you my story of the first time I rode a bike and what kind of fear was induced in me. So, picture this. I'm like 3 to 4 years old, don't remember exactly. My dad's got a little Honda 50 in the garage. He's taking me for rides. We live in Johnson City, Tennessee on this huge hill. I'm talking big. In the wintertime, if there's any sign of snow or ice, there's no way you're getting up there. You have to come in the backside where it's a little more mellow. He decides to take me down this hill, super steep. Then there's an S-turn at the bottom. The S-turn, we get to the first S-turn, perfect. Life is good. We're like Marc Marquez coming through the first one, okay? When we go through the second one, we're like Marc Marquez drunk. Okay, my dad washes the front end out, all right? And mind you, we're on the road on a dirt bike and none of us have gear. I have his helmet on, which is like this much gap on each side, just like bobbling around on my head, right? So when we go down, immediately my helmet flies off. I'm traumatized, like before we even hit the ground, because I knew it was coming. And luckily my dad, you know, kind of held me and we rolled all the way and basically my helmet bounced off this dumpster, we bounced off the dumpster, we came to a stop and it was like, I will never, ever ride anything with two wheels ever again. That's my thoughts as a kid, right? Traumatized, like seriously traumatized. The irony that I'm standing here in front of you guys today teaching you guys how to ride motorcycles is crazy, right? It may stem from like, hey, I don't want other people to experience what I experienced as a kid, so I'm trying to make sure everyone's safe. So anyways, long story short is that moment bred tons of fear in me. Eventually, my dad encouraged me enough to get on the motorcycle. It was like 5 or 6 years later, maybe less. I think I was 7, so 3 or 4 years later, I got on it, I learned to ride it, had a bunch of spills, didn't have great lessons right up front, like there wasn't even available lessons back then. There's nothing like it was now. You just went out in the field and figured it out. Eventually I figured it out, started to fall in love with it, went to my first race, won my first race, game over from there. Got that feeling of going out there and beating people and being competitive, and that was never my nature, right? I was always super mellow, so I got that feeling and it was game on, baby, and here we are. Have you guys ever crashed super hard due to being in the wrong part of the bike, or have you ever just went riding and not felt comfortable at all? That's like, you know, the most common thing. It's like, I don't even know what I'm doing here, I don't feel comfortable. We've designed a course called our Technique Masterclass to solve all those problems. Basically, the course is from A to Z to get you perfect technique. So if you would like to join our Technique Masterclass, make sure you hit the link in the description below. It'll be the first thing there. You can get on our email list, you'll get a notification when we drop this thing. It's coming soon.